Thank you all for joining us for the Slack tutorial. My name is Eva Leos, and on this call we have Robert Weibel and Todd Sutton, who will be walking through a detailed overview of how to utilize Slack with the productivity advancement targets and interacting with the Fiatech work groups. Todd, go ahead.
Thank you, Eva. So most of everybody's been invited to a Slack, so you'll see in your email, you get an invitation from on the email, and within the email, you get a message to join the Slack teams. I just want to point something out on here. There's a link here that takes you to the Slack team for you to go ahead and join it, as well as this button here. But if you notice on all the Fiatech PAT teams, they all start with Fiatech-members-PAT-5. So depending on which productivity advancement target that you're participating in, you would put in the responding number here. So in this case, this is for the PAT number 5 regulatory streamlining team. And so you can click here. You can also go directly to the site. So after you first went in and you logged out and you want to be able to log back in, you can just go here and click sign in. And then that's where it's going to ask you for that particular address. So in here, you don't have to put the HTTP or anything else in front of it.
So if it is a different Slack team, 7 or 12, you would just put in the respective number?
Yes.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah. And then when it finds that team, it's going to ask you to put in your email. And so you need to put in your email, which is probably your company email that you were invited for underneath the Slack environment. And then you're going to put in your password. So. I usually just do not for this site. So that's how you get into the different teams. Now that you're in this team within the browser, you can either go up to the top and do the drop down in this area here to get more information. So here's where you can go in and go into your profile and account and add additional information about yourself, add a photograph of yourself for the thumbnail instead of having a graphic. You can set up your preferences. You can set yourself away from the channel if you're not currently in there. And then, or maybe you're in there reviewing some stuff, but you don't want to announce that you're actually in there right then. And then down here, some easy ways to customize it and look at it. Now, if the other part down here at the very bottom where you can sign in to another team. So this is where if you have multiple invites to different teams, then you can actually switch between the teams here. But actually, the better way of doing that is going down and downloading the Slack app for your particular device. So in this case, I'm on a Windows machine, so I could actually go down and download that for the machine. So let's look at that real quick. So you go down here, download it, and
so there's a Slack app for every type of device, mobile as well as desktop?
Right, and I'll show those after we do the desktop review first. So there's a Slack app for Windows machines, for Mac machines, also for Android and iOS devices as well.
That's pretty cool.
So those are the different devices it currently supports. And if you notice, when I came here, it actually took me to download the Windows because it saw that I was on the Windows machine. If you are on a Android device, it would take you. It would tell you to go to the Google Play Store to download it. And I'll show you that as well. And then here I can go into the Slack setup and then hit run. So it's because it finished downloading. I'm going to minimize that. And we're getting into the app right now. So we'll
once
go.
you've downloaded the app, this allows you to quickly go into the respective areas that you're at instead of going through the websites.
Correct. And it also will save the different teams. So as I go in here, if I go, again, just typing in my team information, I'm going to go to that one first, hit continue. So this one actually is asking me to either type my password or send a magic link. Sending a magic link will actually send a link. It goes and verifies your account and then sends you a link via your email that's registered to let you click in without actually having to type a password. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and type my password.
Okay. And will the magic link tie to each one of the times that you enter Slack, or in other words, you do not ever have to re-enter your password once you open the program?
Yeah, once you open the program and you're actually in the Windows program itself, and you can see it looks very similar to the web, but there's a few differences in that in the way it works as far as being able to access multiple of your programs. So I can actually go in here. It gives me another way to select different teams, so I can actually tab through teams. I can control tab and while I'm inside the software to get to a different team. So that's some differences between here. And then I can also go change the different views as well. And then so let's sign into another team just so you can see. Or let's go look at one other aspect of it where you want to be able to see all the teams that you are signed up with. So I can go here and I can either type in here like I did before, but let's do something different and say find your team, because you may be invited to several teams, especially with your PAT, so to your email address. So and even if you have multiple, you can put up to 10 different email addresses in here. But in this case, I'm just going to put in a 1. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in to that. So then it goes in and say, okay, we found that account, and we're going to send you an email that tells you what accounts you have tied to that account. Okay. So let's go back to my email. And get it into refresh.
And once you set this type of aspect up, the next time you go into the message or into Slack, it shouldn't require any further setup. It's just the opportunity to explore, contribute, and be a part of the team.
Correct. So here's some teams here. Let's go down here. So here's a different path here. So yeah. And then I got down here, I got different path 1, 4, 12. So let's go to 12 real quick. And so here it gives me all the different ones here. So if I'm not sure which one, I can get into there, or I can go ahead and launch them. But in this case, I want to go ahead and I actually want to go in and add those to my to the app.
Okay.
So right now it's just going to launch. It says, hey, you got the app installed, so let's launch it. And then I'm going to go ahead and allow that to be launched in there. So So now it's launching. Now you're seeing the power of the app.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have a new sideboard bar here that
Mm-hmm.
shows me the different channels. And now I can easily switch through those, either by clicking on them or by control tab to select each one of them. So that is the control tab.
Much cleaner and much easier way to navigate, because many of our people will be on more than one PAT team. So
that's why I thought it was important. Right. That's why I thought it was important to show the app and the power of the app, because then once you close out the app, you go into it. And then if you're using a lot, like while the app's open, I usually just say pin to taskbar. That way it stays down here. So I can easily close out of the app. So let's just close out of it real quick and then go back into it. And of course, it was fast when I quit it. So anyway, so now I don't have to go re-enter that. I don't have to go put it in my password each time. I don't have to do a lot of the things that you do if you're doing it with a web browser. Alternatively, you could just create, if your organization will only let you use a web browser, because I am aware that some organizations may not let you install the app. So if that's the case, what I recommend in those situations is that you actually save each Slack team that you're participating in for each of the PATs as a favorite on your toolbar, and then that way when you click on that favorite, it takes you directly to that Slack team within the browser. And then you can just open the ones that you need to get into the work. But again, like I said, even on the mobile devices, the app works extremely well. And then you can also refer to that same email that you received to be able to go. So you don't have to. I can keep going to the same email and finding the one where I have multiple. Yeah. So I go in here. I can say, okay, this is the one that I want to get into, and then I can go to that particular related Slack team and then launch it. And I'll just do this one other just to show you how easy it is to add them to the app. So if you have if you're not sure which Slack team that you're on, go click. If you're in the app and if you have more than one, if I click this plus here, now I don't have to go to the window. I have a plus, but you can say find your team. If you do not have the app installed and you want to also see which ones you've been invited to get a nice listing of all the ones, if you go back to the app itself and just go to the front page of it, you see it. Remember that I actually logged into this one up here. So let me go ahead and log out of it real quick. And log out of it so I'm not in here. So sign out here. And now once I'm signed out, then if you're at the front of the screen, you can see it has find your team up here as well. If I'm at the home page, there you can see there's find your team here, and also at the top, find your team. So those are other ways you can get to there just by putting your email address, and then it sends you an email with all the teams that you can join, or that you have already been invited to, actually. So you just need to log into them. So
that would make it a lot simpler for our members that have been invited but maybe have not yet had the opportunity to set up their Slack site. They can simply find your team and then have that list and then make selections on which ones they're going to participate in.
Exactly. So now that we talked about how to get logged into either through the web or the app, I'm going to go back in the app and let's talk about the structure of the productivity advancement target Slack teams and kind of explain how you can participate within this environment. So within the app, I'm just going to maximize it so you see the whole thing. So again, like we talked about, they will switch easily between the different channels that you have been assigned, that you have joined. And then if you notice, each one, and I want to point out here, is each one of these teams, they have a set of channels that are common to it for informational. So, you know, here's the first one's the expectation of what the channel's for. So, and you see here the purpose is up at the top and explains what it's for, and then there's more detailed information down here too that you can look at. And then we go down the next one that will show the purpose. So each particular advancement target Slack environment has the same setup with the details pertaining to each particular team. So that's how you can see which ones you're in. Here's the inner trust information, and then here's some support videos. This is also this area where you'll find information regarding support videos for the productivity advancement target, as well as more than likely support videos how to interact with the Slack environment itself, such as this recording that we're doing now. And then you see there's a how-to use this particular so you can get more information. And then there's the new enabler request. So if you look below, there's several channels below that are just numbered, and each one of those numbers represents a success enabler that's been identified through surveys that we have taken for each one of the productivity advancement targets, and they're tailored specifically to the results from those surveys as success enablers. And so these are the channels where you're going to be most active in contributing. All the other ones above are really for informational. But if you go through here and you're looking at the different success enablers and you realize there's something that's missing from the current set of success enablers, then you can go into this channel, and this is where you would actually go down here in the message and actually type in that request. And then whoever's overseeing that particular team or even co-chair of the team, so that will review those and then make a decision of incorporating those as the new, the additional success enablers for that environment. Bob, does that pretty much sum that up?
That's good, and then you're going to show how you can prioritize, right?
Yes, thank you. So now that if you notice, as we have several success enablers in this area, so if I go here, I can see there's channels and there's 26. So I can actually go and browse that and see that I already belong to all 26 of those particular channels. If I had not joined all of them yet, by default, when you join a new group, you do get added to all the default channels that had been added to that particular team. But if a new success enabler, for example, is added after you've already logged in, then you will actually need to go and click get to this particular area, and then you'll see there's a section above here that would actually say channels to join, and then that's where you would actually add those channels you haven't joined yet, because they were just added to the particular environment, to the patent Slack team environment. So, and then this is also a way you can easily just get to each one of the teams as well, or it's like the channels, success enablers, and that they'll contribute to. Another way you can get to it is you can actually go down here and use Control K, or just go down here and do the quick switcher. To do if I was on here and I decided I want to look at something else, I can do Control K on the keyboard, and then it will pop up a screen in the middle for me to type in. And as I start typing in, and say I'm looking for 16, as I type in, and it actually automatically starts filtering it out for me at the top, and hit enter, and it takes me straight to that channel. So that's a quick way switch between the different channels as well, to add input to the different success enablers. The other part is if you have certain one of these success enablers, you know, you're not going to be working in all 26, or in this case there's 26 total channels, but you're not going to be working in all those success enablers at one time. So if you find a couple that you really want to focus on, you can star them. So here I have two channels right here, success enabler 1 and number 8. But maybe I realized that I needed also to practice on 16 as well. So if I wanted to add that here, I can just go up here to where 16 is, and as I move the cursor up, you'll see a star appears so as I move the cursor in that area, it appears, and it gives me the option to start the channel. When I click it, it stars it here and removes it from down here. So that's the easy way. Think of it kind of like bookmarking your favorites for the success enablers. And then as you add, but
one of the things that's going to happen as the PAT teams move forward, they're going to be selecting the most important enablers and probably concentrating on them. So I think this is a great tool for people to be able to then move those up to this level as they indeed become the enablers that are being concentrated on.
Correct. And just to point out, these starred that you're storing, that's only for your login. That doesn't affect anybody else's, because everybody's going to have a different area that they're interested in. So this is specific to your preference when you star these particular items. But that's a great point, Bob, because I mean, as you're working, you're going to be needing to focus and on them, and then you're going to get out from one and get into another, and then you're going to come back, and then when you come back, you'll have it where you basically left off. And then if you decide that you finish contributing to that one, and you can just easily go back up here, click it, and it unstars it from here. So you can easily, and then you go choose the next one that you want to work on.
So in those situations, when you're in Slack and you want to communicate with other people within that same productivity advancement target, what is the mechanism to do that? Do you send them an email?
No. So the whole purpose of Slack is to reduce your email. Matter of fact, Slack themselves have reported that the team members that utilize Slack for their interaction and collaboration actually reduce their emails by 46% or more. Wow. So that's and which gives them more time to do other stuff too. So that's why Slack's logo is Slack be less busy. So because it does give you it takes all the time that you spend doing email and lets you concentrate it somewhere else. But so what you do for that, for example, let's just go down here to direct messages. So if you're just contacting one person, you just click on here, and then it tells you who you're talking to, and you send a direct one-to-one message. Only you and the person that you send it to will see this particular message. Now, the great thing about that, say if you have multiple people. So here I started a group with Bob and Tom Phillips with Target, and say if I need to, I can actually direct message them. I can also go up here, say if I realize I need to really include additional people in that, then I can go down here and start copying, or I can just go here and start adding the different people. So, for example, maybe it needs to be between me, Bob, Ken, and Patrick. So then we got 4 people added to here. But I can also always get rid of them too if I decide I don't need to include that person. You can actually go and edit that. So I'm going to hit go. Doesn't send a message yet, but what it does is lets me send group messages to the key people in that particular channel that I need to convey it to. I could have selected all of them too, everybody in the channel that's assigned to that channel, or I can narrow it down to just this one area. So that's a great way to keep the conversation going, and also by direct messaging from the Slack app, it promotes them getting back in to respond. Maybe you're sending them a message on going and looking at a success enabler, and maybe there's something that you've added that you want their input on, then you can send a direct message directly to them in that way, and then they'll get that notification and then be able to respond back into the Slack channel. So it's like an instant messaging tied into it. So you know, Slack to me is kind of like a wiki is a really powerful wiki type of situation where you can contribute as a team, but also has the instant messaging, direct messaging aspect as well, all in one application. So
this will be very helpful. This will be very helpful as some of these PAT teams have some sub work groups concentrating on one or two enablers, and you can just immediately set those groups up and converse this way. So it's good. Thanks.
Right.
And so in those situations where maybe you are not currently in Slack, like maybe your app is open in your toolbar, if a direct message comes through, will there be a little flag on the corner of the Slack icon, or how would you know that a direct message has come through?
There's notification. So you set up so there'll be a notification that actually gets that will actually come up. So you can actually set your conversation settings, but you can also set it to where you get the notifications within the settings in Slack to get notifications. So like over here, there's actually a way to so you can set your notification preferences right here, and then you can edit those preferences, and then also determine if you want it to be pushed to the mobile or also get desktop. Sometimes you might want to mute the conversation if you're really active in it and you just don't want the notifications to constantly done. You can just turn it off, but you can also like I said, do either the mobile push or, and I usually do one or the other. I usually don't do both, but just because you get too many notifications coming out from the same thing from multiple devices. So my preference myself is to have the app on my phone and then have it push the notifications through to my phone, and that way I can respond wherever I'm at. And if I'm by my desk, I can go back and just log in, open up the application, and start replying back to it that way as well.
Well, that definitely would increase efficiency of communication and reduce the possibility of missing a message or not being aware of some progress that was happening.
Right. Another application which you have to actually set it up through your device, but I don't have it set up right now. But if I was to go in here, and actually say if I wanted to, so say if I just want to go in here to this one and I wanted to just go in and have another choice here is to call. So this is if you're actually working, it's like kind of like voice over IP, so it gives you an option to it actually did start calling. So it's probably not. So I didn't realize I thought it was going to give me an option to select how to notify them. But anyway, what it would have done is send a notification that I was calling them through Slack, and then it'd go in the Slack app and then be able to answer it, and would have the phone call or a conversation, audio conversation over the Slack channel as well. So that's a new feature they just added this probably about 12 weeks ago. So that should be interesting. But you can see it actually started calling right away, so I actually didn't want to do that at this point. But so it kind of gives you an overview of all the Slacks. One of the things I want to go ahead and cover real quick is, because we talked a couple of times, I mentioned about mobile devices as well. And well, first of all, let's just go in here. So let me go back to my direct message. Just need to. Accidentally took him off a while ago, so I just wanted to add it back in. But so say if I need to, so the easiest way, we talked about how to use the system, but I just want to show you how do you actually do the like messaging or post or anything within inside the system. So one of the key areas is on the direct messaging, you just type in the message here. You can click on the plus and get some other extra information. You can even upload files to individuals, and only that person will get the file. So if you need somebody to review something prior to you actually posting it to the group, this is an easy way of sharing that information within the Slack environment as well. You can also just create a post, or you can just click in here and just type the message. And then here on the upload, the interesting point is you can either click here and it'll open up the browser, or you can, if you already have the file available, you can just drag and drop it in the Slack environment, and it will drop in. You'll automatically format it and post it for you as a file. So you can go here and show like in the channels. So if you notice also, I have some of these channels that are dark and some of these that are light. So that means that the ones that are dark, those are ones that I have unread messages in, which is something I just want to point out. So that means somebody posted something in those particular success enablers that I haven't looked at yet. Here's an example for PAT number 12. Yesterday, Bob added the Horizon 360 scan matrix as a channel for here, and then you can see there's the actual file that was posted in there, and this is just done by dragging and dropping into to this screen, and then it automatically posted it in here. And then from there, you can just either open it, click to download to open it. You can also get some more actions here. You can copy a link to it. You can pin it. So in this case, this is something in this channel you definitely want to be able to pin, so because you want it to be the first thing people notice when they come. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this, Bob, over in here just to show how it works. So when I pin it and I say yes, pin this file, and now it's pinned in here, and then it's going to be it'll be seen whenever somebody comes to the channel. So which is what we want to be able to see. So and then the interest on the messaging on here, there's different ways to do formatting. There's different ways to bold information. So, for example, if you use asterisks in front of a word and behind a word, it will bold it for you. If you use, I don't remember all the.
Is there a place that you can find this glossary of how to?
Yes, there is. So if you go to the Slack bot, so there's a direct messaging right here that says Slack bot, And if you go, hey, you know, you basically ask it questions, and it can be as broad as, how do I use Slack? Or, you know, let me see, format message. And then it automatically sends me a response, and it tells me, you know, what I just mentioned about putting an asterisk behind a set of words and in front and behind, and will bold that whole string. And same thing for underscores, will do italics. And then if you just want to do a block quote, you just put an indent in the front of indent quote in the front of the line that you want, and it indents that line for you. So using the angle bracket at the start of the line. And then
so the Slack bot is kind of
so
like
what?
Google for Slack. The Slack bot
Yes.
is like Google for Slack.
Yeah, it is. It's actually an artificial intelligence function within inside the Slack environment that will respond to you. So it's been so it actually learns as it's really kind of learning as you use it. So obviously they put in a lot of the help information, and then and of course if there's the more people use it, the smarter it actually gets. So it's a neat, it's an automated, I guess, messaging response system, really what it is. And then, but it gives you the information that you need. And then if you have, like here, I want more tips, and then I can actually say, you know, click on the Help Center, and then it takes me to the browser, and then from there I can actually go in and find out more information on how to do everything from track through, how to create lists, number lists, which we actually use the number list when we're doing it for example, meeting notes. So you can actually create meeting notes within the Slack environment, you know, when you're having a team meeting, and then everybody can go see, they will see that, the responding meeting notes. 1.2 that I want to point out, while you're doing your posting in here, and you're actually posting in the different channels, if you actually have something that you are so like on this question, how do we reward? So think of this as, so in our company we have a innovation and quality award process. And then you can do, I can actually do at, and then if I want to, so I can direct it to who I'm talking to. So Bob is the one that actually had asked that, so I can actually do that, and then it filters it down. I can hit enter, so I can do all that from the keyboard, and I can continue typing in my message in here, and then if I wanted to here, I can just do and then I hit enter, and you notice it actually bold that, and it responded back to him, and then I put it exactly. So so then you can format it any way you want to, and that's just a quick way of being able to respond back to those and add information into to start that conversation. So and then I can go back and actually add. So say if you decided, you know what, I really needed to add more information, you can just click on that line right here, I'll stay on it. And then I can actually click with the little 3 buttons here. In most cases.
It's become shy now that it's on the stage.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe, and it could be a setting in the system that's not allowing me to edit a post that I already made too. So it could be, that also could be a possibility. So,
okay. But that's a really good example.
It could be a restriction. Yeah.
Right. It's a good example of how to keep the communication going and to continue to message other people, respond to questions, post files. Is there anything else that have been the types of how do I, when would I, other opportunities that we could address as we're coming close to the conclusion of this tutorial?
Yeah, one thing here, and I don't know if it's because actually it's letting me do one that I didn't do, which is really weird. But let me point this out real quick, because this one's important. Because say that you want to be reminded on here, you can actually have it remind you about something. So say you go through and you're reading something and you say, you know what, I really want to respond to this question, and so this will allow you to set some defaults here if you want to do it tomorrow or next week or whatever, and then it'll actually pop up a reminder later on within that time. You can also add a reaction to it, which is like emoticons, which we did not talk about, but you can see there's a lot of different ones. There's stuff like thumbs up, checkbox, you know, as well. And here's some of the favorite ones. So if I do that, it gives a little one thumb up, and then as people can actually go in and click on it and add additional ones as well. So it's kind of neat. And then the other question that comes up a lot is, well, how, there's something that's commented in one of the channels, but I think I want to copy it to in another. It actually would fit into another success enabler as well, or I want to start that conversation in that other success enabler that maybe it fits better in. So I can actually copy a link, and then I can actually go into a success enabler, and then go ahead and post that link in that particular one, which I'm not going to do right now, but it gives you that option to do that. So I think that's the main thing. So real quick, I just want to show one last thing. So in Slack, so actually what I'm showing you here is the Slack app on an iPad. So I just want to real quick, I guess I'll show you. This is actually on the iPad.
Okay.
So just showing the screen on the iPad, and then that's the app on the iPad. So and one thing I want to point out on the iPad app, if I can just swap to the right and be able to switch between the different items. So if I go in there and I see they have unread stuff. So on the iPad, if you remember before on the app here, well, I got the app up right here. So see, these show me what's still unread by the highlighting. But on the mobile app, it actually creates a whole new section too. It's still bold, but it shows me the unread up here. So that's why I kind of like using Slack on like an iPad or a mobile device. It could be an Android tablet or even a phone. But it adds that additional functionality to make it easier to go catch up on what you haven't read yet. So that was one of the last points I wanted to show. And again, we covered on adding new channels, but you can see on the iPad, it's just as easy switching between different channels. And then also the last piece would be to just to be able to add, I can sign into another team, and then it gives me that same option we looked at before on adding those additional teams to the channel. So, and that's really the only thing other than getting, you know, any recent notifications. I can actually go look at those on here. The last piece was, well, you know, people are uploading files. Where do I find all the information? Do I have to go read all the channels to be able to find where there's information? And the answer is no. So the last feature I want to show is the search. And this is very powerful because not only does it search for the file names, but it's searching for the content inside the files too. So, so if I do, if I spell it right, it looks better. So if I start typing autonomous and just get this much in there, right, then I can say there's nothing in messages, but I see one file, and then that's because inside this particular file, there is a item that talks about autonomous vehicles. And so it's able to search the whole content. So regardless of what it is, it's actually searching within that team all your content. The other thing I want to point out is you can go here to be able to get to those same files. You can click here and see your files or all files. In this case, I'm going to look at all files, and then I see all the files that's been posted. Some of these are from the system on how to use the system from Slack, but then also you can see there's other documents that were posted. Here's a PDF document that was posted, and here's the H360 matrix that was posted. So to be able to easily get to those files is pretty simple to get to, and just by searching using the search up here, and also which it searches all the channels and files and everything within inside the Slack environment. So it's very powerful. So for example, if I just was top 360, which we know that's in the files and in the message, in several of the messages, and you can see how that pops up there. And see how fast it is. It's like unreal how fast it searches all that content. And it doesn't matter how much has been posted, it does it just as fast as less just a few seconds it's there. So it's a great tool to use for that. And
it sure does.
Is there anything else that
Bob, is there anything else you can think of that has popped up over the last few months with attempting to integrate the utilization of Slack?
I actually think this is a good summary. We have talked about the possibility of doing some other little video clips on some of the more sophisticated things, especially for those who are the PAT team leaders. So I think this was an excellent way to cover it. And thank you very much, Todd.
Absolutely. Thank you, Todd, for your time and for kind of giving us some insight on how to utilize Slack. I think that there is still more for everybody to learn, but as we continue to integrate it into the process of the productivity advancement target teams and the process, we will continue to keep track of any of those types of questions that we might get, and if we have to do additional tutorials or release additional videos, we will certainly do that. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you're welcome to give Bob or Eva a phone call or an email, and we will keep track of those and potentially bring Todd Sutton back in for a future tutorial. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to working with you and expanding on our efficiency because of Slack. Have a great